I love each and every one of you for getting up this early. I'm not joking. My son's not too far away, and he can testify, if you will, that not only have I been extremely nervous by presenting this morning, not just because I always get nervous speaking in public, but because I feel a sense of responsibility to use this time wisely and to make it as good for you as possible. But he knows that I'm especially nervous this morning because it's just so damn early. So there's a lot of things could go wrong this early in the morning. Let me first answer the most pressing question. Yes, I am trying out for a part in Argo 2. And so if you get a chance to vote, please make sure I get in there. But seriously, thank you from the bottom of my heart of getting up. Anybody go drinking last night?
I feel it.
I'm going to change my message, Ben. I think I'll preach about something else. No, we'll stay with what it is. But seriously, it is a little early for me, and since I'm out of the habit of getting up this early on a Sunday morning, what I thought I might do is I thought I might call a friend of mine and just see if I can get some help. It's early. It's me, Brother Sam.
Brother Jerry? Who died? Somebody in the emergency room?
No, just relax. I'm here with the American Atheists this morning at the American Atheist Convention. And, you know, it's been a long time since I've done anything like this, and I thought you might have, you know, a few suggestions.
This is some kind of sick joke, isn't it? Brother Sam is as good a sport as the next atheist evangelist. But what time is it? What time zone are you in? It's practically the middle of the night. You told me yourself that one of your favorite things about atheism is no longer being obliged to roll your holy ass out of the bed at some time. You remember that?
Yes.
You told me that you just implemented this hard and fast rule, this commandment, if you will. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy for laying around the house all day. That's right. Jerry.
Now,
Yet there you are, in the pre-dawn hours, consorting with the American Atheists. In Texas yet. Oh, depart from me, ye worker of iniquity.
come on, Brother Sam. They've asked me to participate in this morning's program. They've asked very, very nicely. And quite honestly, I was hoping that I might could pawn it off on you.
Well, I'll tell you one thing for goddamn sure. As for a church meeting parody, Brother Sam is the last one you should be asking.
Not true.
The reason I was, until somebody who ought to know better woke me up, able to sleep in this morning, is precisely because nobody asked me to come put on a church meeting parody for me.
Hear that?
But that's not the issue. You want something funny to do with our mutual friends there? And, by the way, good morning, American Atheists. Brother Sam says, hey. No parody I or anybody else can put on is 1/10 as absurd as an actual Holy Roller church meeting. So my advice, just go ahead and give the folks there a taste of what you did for a living all those years. Don't worry about it being funny. Do some straight out preaching. Lay a goddamn altar call on.
It's coming.
Yeah, tell those American atheists to dig deep. Which gets us back to where we started with me. Take up an offering and send me the money. The way I look at it, you're getting off easy.
I know.
I did not wake you up.
He's here I got the offer, not only was I turned off to it because it was Sunday morning, but I was a little taken back by the idea of doing a parody. I know that I'm as guilty as the next person or the next ex-preacher at getting up and making a fool of myself, but at the same time, I have this ego that says I've got something to contribute. There's something culturally significant about the way I talk and the way that I do things. And I thought, God damn, I'm not Brother Sam. But it appears to be an epidemic that I'm beginning to see spread. Not too long ago, or maybe now almost a year ago, that's how quick things have gone by, the Dawkins Foundation asked me and Teresa and the Recovery from Religion group to meet them in Seattle. And right before one of the events, they realized they didn't have an MC, so Elizabeth Cornwell grabbed me over at the side and she said, "You're going to have to introduce everybody." Go ahead and move to the PowerPoint. Said you're gonna have to introduce everybody, and you're gonna have to bring the books with you that Dawkins is selling and that Sean Faircloth is selling, and you're gonna have to make sure you give them instructions, give the crowd instructions that they need to go through this door if they want to get it signed, and that door if they haven't got it signed, and if they want to give a donation. And she's just giving me all of these instructions 10 seconds after she asked me to do this as I'm walking to the podium, and at the last moment she grabs my arm and she says, "And do it in your preacher voice." And I'm like, really? No problem, it's all just a gimmick and a joke, right? And so I get up and I just let them have it. In Seattle, I just break a little ice, and out of the corner of my right eye, I can see Richard Dawkins standing off stage. And the more I get into it, the bigger his smile gets. And I'm like, that's a pretty good endorsement. So the bigger he smiles, the more I get at it. I had the flu, was almost too hoarse to speak, but I gave it everything that I got, and I preached for Richard Dawkins. And later on that night, we're at a fundraiser together. Elizabeth is carting him off. It's very late, but I see he makes one more turn around this dining room table, and I sense that he's coming to speak to me, and I'm very, very proud. And he walks up to me, and of course he looks down at me. Nobody laughed this early, I'm sensitive. He looks down at me and he says, "I really enjoy your preacher act." Well, that's what I want to avoid this morning is acting. I'm going to preach to all of you this morning. I was told by a church member that saw some of my YouTube videos, they said, you know, it's really great that you're being yourself and you're enjoying yourself and expressing yourself and all that kind of stuff. But you know, whenever they ask you to preach and you preach, you're really kind of going over the top. That's not the way you really preach to your congregation that you loved and love you. So, believe it or not, this morning you're going to get an actual Sunday morning secular sermon. So, let's get things started. If you'll be so kind, stand to your feet. I want you to shake your neighbor's hand, greet somebody next to you, tell them hello. You've probably never seen them before, or you've seen them 100 times. All right, that's good enough. I've got 15 minutes. That's your best time. So it's Easter morning. Can you believe it? Can you believe that it's Easter morning that we're here doing this thing? What I can't believe is that 26 Easters ago, there was so much about the resurrection I didn't know. And I thought I knew everything. I actually thought I knew the person that everyone was claiming was resurrected. What I didn't know is that resurrection and the idea thereof has had a very long history. Throughout all of humanity, all of recorded history, someone's been talking about resurrection. And the question is why? Why did this idea first percolate within the minds of early citizens of these early civilizations? And I can tell you the answer very easily. The answer is because life's hard. Life is extremely difficult. And the only thing that's harder than life is death. Death's even harder than that. So it's no surprise to me that early on in our history, loving people who were developing the conscience that we now take for granted, that were sharing lives and sharing emotions, creating bonds and building what we now call civilization, that those people would struggle with the difficulties of life the everyday trials of just being a conscious human. It's no surprise to me, especially after so many years of pastoring and dealing with so many families and so many heartaches. I can't even tell you the number of funerals that I performed. It's no surprise to me that early humans begin to deal with this thing that we call death and begin to wish that there was a better answer, that maybe there was a resurrection. Very early on in our history, they begin to give their heroes the ability to escape death, the ability to be resurrected from the dead. So, out of respect to you, and out of the respect to the energy that you've put forward, I'm going to preach to you about the power of the resurrection. It's obvious that we don't have the actual power to raise from the dead. Can I get a very sad door win? Thank you. Y'all are good sports. Maybe I should go drinking on Saturday nights. If we don't have the power of the resurrection, then what do we have? I will tell you very quickly and easily this morning what we do have. We have the ability to move from a hard life to a better life. Now I know, go ahead. I understand that it's not as glamorous. I understand that it's not as romantic as the idea of raising someone from the dead. But the reality of it is that it is reality. And that we as human beings do possess this incredible ability to take almost the most impossible situation, no matter how hard or how tragic, and to pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps without any skyhook or without any divine intervention, and to take a hard life and to somehow, almost without exception, to make it better. Can I get a Darwin? So the question would be, how is it? Since we don't possess magic, since we don't have some type of divine ability to raise the dead or to change these situations, then how is it that we're able to do this? If there is no magic, then what is there? Well, obviously, that's what I'm getting paid to tell you. So, the preacher's classic story. May of last year, I received a notice of foreclosure for our little home. Just a few weeks later, my wife would leave. We were already completely financially destitute. As you already know, I had moved out of the ministry. I'd lost my secular job. It seemed as if the situation was as hard as life had ever been. If we don't have any magic, then what do we have? How can we change these situations from something that's hard to something that's better? The reality of it was that on August the 29th, our dream home that we had worked 25 years to be able to purchase was going to go up on the sheriff's sale auction block. I don't know if you've ever received a notice like that, but it's just about as low as a person can get. But 1 year before that, I had made a fateful call to Dan Barker. Can I get a Darwin? Darwin! And Dan Barker did this very special thing that I want to preach to you about this morning. Dan Barker connected with me. Dan Barker built a relationship with me. Dan Barker took time with me. Dan Barker showed patience with me. Dan Barker showed love to me. And over the course of that year, from March of 2011 all the way to May of 2012 and the foreclosure notice, all of you fantastic people begin to enter my life, and relationships begin to be built. If we don't have magic, what do we have? And so then Dan Barker, he shows me and tells me and connects me to the Clergy Project. The Clergy Project gets national attention. And a reporter from the New York Times ends up connecting with me. And he's a beautiful person. Change the next slide, please. And he builds a relationship with me. He comes down to my home, spends time with me, actually goes to church with me, and begins to understand me, and tells the world my story. That's on August the 22nd. All of a sudden, publishers begin to call. And everybody's got a sales pitch, but one publisher in particular builds a relationship. One publisher in particular says, I know where you're coming from. I've experienced similar things. I know what it means to be you. And he shows me love, and he gives me great advice, and he connects me to an agent who understands and is compassionate and stands in the gap and shows patience and shows love and shows tolerance and knows where I'm coming from and gets where I'm coming from. If we don't have magic, then what do we have? This agent then connects me to my co-writer, and the co-writer spends the next 4 months with me and asks me the hard questions and tolerates my feeble answers and digs out of me the pain and digs out of me the hardness, digs out of me this hard life and makes me bring it to the surface in every grueling detail. And he builds a relationship with me. And in that relationship, in telling the story, all of that pain and all of that trauma and all of that confusion and all of that hard life slowly begins to move itself into a better position. Can I get a doorway? And so, with all of that being done and said, there's a book deal. Oh, I know what it sounds like, but just stay with me for a second, because here's what's important. Do you know when the book deal was made?
August 29th.
August the freaking 29th. Come on now. What I'm trying to tell you this morning is that there is no power of the resurrection the way that we've been taught through mythology. And there is no magic. We don't possess any divine help. But the good news is that we don't need it. You don't need it. You already possess the power of relationship. Well, I come to tell you step by step, from Dan Barker to the Clergy Project, from the Clergy Project to the New York Times, from the New York Times all the way to the publisher to the agent to the writer, the book, the freaking 29th of August. I don't know for sure where you're at this morning, but if you're in a low place, I'm telling you there are higher places for you. If you know somebody that's struggling, if you know somebody that's in a bind, if you know somebody that's hurting, you don't have to worry about whether or not you have the skills or the ability. If there is even a single ounce of love in your heart, you possess a power greater than the resurrection. What you need to understand this morning is that this isn't a parody. I've used this as an allegory, and what I'm doing right now, you're finally seeing the real me. I've finally gotten comfortable enough that I can show you who I really am, because whether you like it or not, I'm a preacher. And that mild-mannered guy that you see sitting over on the sofa somewhere, that's the character. This is the real me. This is the passion. What lives in me, what flows in me is this unquenchable love, this ability to go beyond some mythology and move straight into relationship, to pierce through the darkness of any situation and say these faithful words, together we are better. Right now, this very moment, you possess it. You possess more power and more insight. You possess more of the ability to make a difference than all of the doctrine that's ever been written. Take the entire Bible, multiply it by 1,000,000, and it does not carry the weight of one single smile. What I need you to understand is that if you want to raise the roof, if you want to raise the roof, if you want to entertain any audience anywhere in the world, if you want some Broadway-style parody, then you need to call Brother Sam Singleton. Goddamn. Don't put that on YouTube. My grandmother's still alive. It's also important for you to understand that there's other ways of doing this as well. If you want to raise a ruckus, if you want to rally the atheist troops with a billboard campaign that's sure to cause a protest, then you need to call King Dave Silverman. But maybe that's not your personality. Maybe you're a little weary of all the Jesus jokes. If I see this one more time, I swear. Maybe you still love the Christians. Maybe you still love your Christian relatives. Maybe you don't enjoy offending them. Those who do enjoy offending them, then offend away. That's your individuality. But maybe you're not one of them. Maybe you stopped growing at 5'5" and you don't like picking fights if you don't have to. That ain't funny. What I want to tell you is that if what you want to do is equivalent to raising the dead, if what you want to do is to lovingly love a religionist into reason, if what you want to do is to build a bridge with simple patience and nothing more, then who you need to call is a non-believing minister. Can I get a Darwin? So what I want to do this morning very quickly is not give an altar call. But I am going to perform an ordination service. Stand to your feet, please. We've got something this morning better than an altar call. In this ordination service, I appoint each and every one of you as ministers of true relationship. I ordain each and every one of you to go ye forth into all the world and to love both the hell and the heaven out of everyone that you meet. Can I get a Darwin? Darwin! Because what you possess is far greater. What you carry, the individual that feels like they do nothing more than attend a convention, what you do is greater than what I'm doing. What you do is greater than what David Silverman is doing. What you do is greater than anyone on television is doing. What you're doing is building relationships, and it is through these relationships that we will raise this dead culture. Can I get one last Darwin? Darwin!
Jerry, you actually had about 5 more minutes. But I didn't have the heart to get up here and tell you.
Taking money.
Who's this guy?
I would like to thank Dave Silverman for inviting me to speak, and I'd like to curse Dave Silverman for having me follow Jerry.
So apparently today is the day that Jesus walked out of the tomb, saw a shadow, went back in, and the 2 days. And then for the next 3 months, relived that same day over and over again, learned to play the piano, learned to cook. Oh no, that was a cool one. I get the two confused all the time.
Jesus working magic.
Bruce. By the power of Bruce, Dr. Man, Bruce, let me give you a thumbs up.